Convicted murderer Alex Murdaugh did something Thursday he hasn't done in 2 years. Since his life of privilege and power started to unravel, he pleaded guilty to a crime. His first time ever.
He told the truth, you mean?
Pleading guilty to a crime.
For once told the truth? I
guess. I just know that this is the first time he's ever officially pleaded guilty. So,
yeah.
I don't know about the other charges. Now, Murdaugh still admits openly that he should be held accountable for his what he did to steal the money, but that he shouldn't be held accountable for what happened to his son and his wife. You know, he still says that today. Now, if Murdaugh gets the retrial, all right? This is really interesting. If he gets the retrial, he will now serve this time out in federal prison because he walked in, he admitted guilt to these federal financial crimes, which he's going to get decades worth of sentencing. That's what the estimation is here. So basically the rest of his life, no matter what, and he will go to federal prison. Now, does it suck for people that just absolutely, they hear the Murdaugh name and immediately they just have a horrible taste in their mouth? Does this suck that Alex is getting something he wants? I get it. Sure, it does. But him going to federal prison instead of state prison, in my opinion, isn't worth us jeopardizing our justice system and making our justice system untrustworthy.
Agreed.
So I still think he should get the retrial regardless on the murder charges, because what Becky Hill did was ridiculous. It was over the top. I don't think anybody should ever be having a relationship like she did with the jury members, and it doesn't feel fair in that situation. I mean, it's not alleged. It's alleged based on what the jury members are saying. It just hasn't been brought as charges yet, but it's not alleged. They signed legal binding statements.
A sworn affidavit.
Yeah, they signed legal binding statements to say this is the truth, this is the whole truth. So I don't feel like we need to go about it like it's an alleged, it's a claim. Like, there's a lot of evidence here. And even the prosecution is acting like this is serious evidence, substantial evidence, trying to play loophole games by, hey, you need to edit the date that this came out or do this within 10 days. But it's interesting stuff. I just think that he should get the retrial in that situation. And I still think it's possible he gets convicted.
Yeah, I think it's very possible he'll still get convicted. Yeah, I mean, they still have to prove, like, once they get on the stand, which I've heard a lot of lawyers say, it could change. Like,
what?
It could change their statements.
Whose?
The jurors. So while I 100%...
Well, you're just talking about cross-examination. Their statement is their statement.
Yeah.
And they're committing that it is the truth. So that is the truth. That is at least their lived experience and their truth of what she did. Now, we have evidence backing that statement with the book, with the Facebook post. Like, those are not opinion. Those are 100% fact and can be proven by the history and the timeline. And the juror that got removed, they already communicated with the husband who admitted that he did not post anything like that. They were able to verify that the Facebook profile was fake. They were able to prove that the post was taken down less than 24 hours after it was posted, and then Becky Hill didn't even bring it up till 2 weeks later. Like, that is damning evidence. Mm-hmm. So it's not gossip. We are past the point of gossip here. You know, it's not alleged statements. Like, there's meat on the bone here.
Yeah, and they're fighting over, like, detail, like, little things, like, with the law and how you can, you know, kind of tweak it. Like, does he get a new trial if it's determined that this could have affected the trial, like, or is it's just, it sounds like it's going to be up to the judge ultimately, is what it sounds like to me. Like, they're arguing over what the law says about if he can get a trial or not. In my opinion, like, clearly if somebody's in the jury's ear the whole time, that affected the trial, period, point blank.
Dude, one time. If somebody's in the jury's ear one time, that is illegal.
It is criminal. What she did is criminal. Like, straight up, she is a criminal in my mind.
Yeah.
So,
and,
I mean,
and
I heard he cried.
I think the idea to our justice system and the goals of our justice system are more important than an idiot like Alex Murdaugh, okay? And if that means that we need to do a retrial to regain the trust of the public and regain the image that justice, at least in this state, is honest, then the state just needs to buck up and do it. Like, that, it is what it is, okay? You hired someone who made an awful, horrible, criminal mistake because of her own selfishness and financial interests and wanting to be famous and all this other whatever Becky Hill's reasoning is.
She's such a diva.
Right, and They just need to fix it now. I don't think it's worth arguing. I don't think that they have anything that they can bring up to make it seem like it shouldn't be a retrial. The one and only thing that I see, okay, is if they can prove that Murdaugh and his team knew about this before the trial ended. That is the only thing, okay? If the state can prove the Murdaugh's team knew about it before the trial ended, it was their obligation at that point to bring it up and correct it during the trial.
Oh, I don't... See, in my mind, that shouldn't matter.
I think it does matter, because if it does, they're taking a circumstance, twisting it, bending it, and manipulating it into their favor.
And I understand that, but what she did is still criminal and affects the outcome of the trial, and say Murdaugh is innocent, like, for real.
But unfortunately, if the defense did that too, they are both equally criminal. Both of them.
Yeah.
Because they are now complicit in Becky Hill's madness.
Yeah, I understand.
So,
and that's a tough situation. Honestly, all of it's kind of tough. But in my mind, the fact that whether he should get a trial or not, based on the facts we have now, he should.
I agree.
You know, a lot of people just see him and it's just disgust, you know, like... So immediately people are saying, oh, this is a ploy by the defense. They're making this stuff up. I don't think so. I really don't even think that's possible at this point with all of the other details we have in evidence.
Well, the thing is, okay, Murdaugh is manipulative. Murdaugh is a thief. Murdaugh is obviously a horrible person that has been gifted power and notoriety and privilege from his family's name for way too long, okay? But his legal team is not, you guys. They are not. Our justice system is not a justice system that just because a lawyer is defending a defendant, that does not make the lawyer bad. If you look into the background of Murdaugh's legal team, they are established, experienced, and highly regarded lawyers in the bar, in the legal system. So even when the prosecution talks about Alex's defense team, they speak so highly of them. They speak so highly of them. So, I just don't think that's a fair way of looking at it. And I think our justice system, if anything in this world, is black and white. It should be that. We're either doing things fair or we're not. And if somebody that's involved in court and the court case did something shady, then we need to fix it, you know? And unfortunately, in this situation, if we go with the retrial, now that Alec has admitted to the federal financial crimes, he will go to a federal prison. He will. But does it matter?
Not
Come
really.
on.
He's still in prison and being held accountable.
Right.
And
Right.
I'm not of a person that thinks people have to live in squander and be abused to be held accountable. Like, he's still locked up away from everything he knows. He still doesn't have freedom of movement. Like, it's still not, like, a great life like what he had on the outside.
Yes.
Just because there's a little bit more comfort. Like, I don't know. Do we want to be like Thailand, where you, like, sleep on the floor in mud and water and bugs and just, like, squander? Like, I think they're humans, and we shouldn't treat them like animals.
Yeah.
You know? Like,
That's
despite if they're a murderer, there's going to be people in there that are not murderers, and just regardless, like, I don't know why that's a thing.
Yeah, that's like getting mad about it being a punch to the face or a kick to the face. Like, he's still getting hurt.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what it is. He's still
being
getting
held
hurt.
accountable,
You
yes.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but I'm curious what you guys think. Is it that big of a deal? Is it that we just are so eat the rich that, like, we don't want to give anything up to Alec? You know, I just put him behind bars. Keep the rest of society
Exactly.
safe. I'm content. I don't even care if they put him in a legitimate hotel with hotel amenities. If he is locked up forever and kept away from the rest of society, I would be okay with that. I don't care. Get him out of here, you know? He's going to be in jail for the rest of his life. Nothing's going to change that. He has 100 more charges to face, even without the retrial if he ends up getting one. So, but your opinion means more to me than my own opinion. So let me know what you guys think.
Yeah, I was just trying to say, I heard that he was crying in there when he pled guilty.
Was he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He does that, doesn't he?
He does. He does. Yeah. It doesn't necessarily mean it's fake, though. I think a lot of people look at him crying and think that it's a manipulation and it's fake, and it makes sense why people think that and want to think that after everything he's been involved in and everything that he's done. But I do feel like there's still a little bit humanity in that man, and I'm not positive that he's the one who pulled the trigger, just with the two guns and things like that. So maybe him crying is real. It doesn't change for anything for me. I think he's still, even if he's not the one who pulled the trigger, needs to be behind bars forever, because if he didn't pull the trigger, he is the reason why a trigger got pulled.
Yeah.
So,
agreed.
You know?
Agreed. All right, so